Okay, story time on how I was impregnated by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 10 and forced to keep the baby. I'm going to have to bring you all the way back to the beginning so you can understand how I was forced to keep this baby. Okay, so boom, grandma's house was the meet up spot for all the old heads to meet up to play spades and to hang out. Mama loved playing spades. She was a huge fan of card playing. But anyways, she meets this guy that's in his late 50s. And she was in her late 20s at the time. Literally, the guy is half her age, but okay. So fast forward a little bit, her and the guy been rocking for a little minute. So he started inviting her to parties and different gatherings and functions. She started pulling up at his job to meet him for money, to get money. She would take me and my siblings on some of these meet and greets. And she was just, enjoying this. She was really enjoying this with this guy until she finds out that he's married with a wife and 2 kids. Y'all gotta come back for part two. Okay, part two of how I was impregnated by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 10 and was forced to keep the baby. So in part one, I left off where she found out he was married with a wife and 2 kids. Well, that didn't stop her from talking to this guy. As a matter of fact, he ended up throwing a Super Bowl party at his house where he invited her to come to the Super Bowl party. Mind you, this party was thrown at his house where his wife and kids reside. So my mom, she comes and get her stuff together, and she get me and my sister together, and she take us to this man's house for the Super Bowl party with his wife and 2 kids. All right, so the party goes as planned, goes well. Fast forward a little bit. Now he done got comfortable because he allowed her into his space where his wife and 2 kids live. So now he able to come to our house freely. He come as he go. He come and go as he please. Like, that's how she had it set up for him. And he was cool with that. He was able to come freely. Like, with no care in the world. They was just doing their thing. So, we end up having to move out the house that we was living in because the landlord wanted to sell the house, basically. So Mama ended up moving us out into Carrollwood, into a townhome. So fast forward to 1999, the year of 1999. We basically out there in Carrollwood getting settled in, and my mama was a big fan of her kids. I cannot take that from her. She loved her kids dearly. She did anything that she possibly could for me and my sisters. So don't take that as, okay, well, she allowed this to happen type thing. She did take care of her kids. Anybody that knows my mama knows that she took care of kids and standed 10 toes down about kids. So he was able to, once we moved to Carrollwood, he was able to basically come out there as well freely and move around freely with no problems. So he used to come and pick us up from the Boys and Girls Club, pick us up from after school programs. He was able to take us to the grocery store, do shopping for the house, and all while my mom was at work. But my mama never thought anything of what was about to happen. So after she got comfortable and we settled in into our new place out in Carrollwood, she ended up giving him a key to our house. All right, so during the summertime, Mama used to take us, me and my sister, to different places, board games. We would walk to the nearest stores in the neighborhood to grab things and stuff like that, of that nature. So this particular day of the summertime has changed my world completely. Y'all have to come back for part 3. Okay, part 3 of how I was impregnated by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 10 and forced to keep the baby. So in part 2, I left off where it was summertime of 1999. I forgot to mention that in 99, I started my menstrual when I was 9 years old when we stayed back in Claremont. Anyways, fast forward, it's summer of 99. I also turned 10 during the summer in March. We're going to keep moving along a little bit. So I turned 10 and the summertime is coming to an end. I was doing the typical things that a 10-year-old would do, going outside, playing, trips, beaches, parks, you name it, I was doing it as a kid. To this particular day, August the 11th, 1999, the day before school started. My mom had told me and my sisters that she was going to run to the store to grab some of the last minute things that we needed for school. Of course, this man was at the house at the time that she was getting ready to go do her little errands or whatever for us for school. So she had told me and my sisters that we wanted to go get our shoes and come on because she was ready to go so she can get what she needed and get back to the house to get us prepared for school the next morning. So me and my siblings sitting down, we debating. I don't want to go, I'm going. I don't want to go, I'm going. I don't want to go, I'm going. So we going backwards and forth for a little bit, and she like, we're not gonna keep going through this backwards and forth. It's either you want to go or you don't want to go. So my younger sister was like, okay, well, I want to go. I'm going with Mama. So I was like, okay, well, Mom, I don't want to go. I'm gonna just stay home. Mind you, it's not out of the ordinary for us to stay home with this guy because he's been basically taking care of us or watching over us for the last 2 years that my mom been working like a workaholic. So we didn't think nothing of it. She didn't think anything of it. She told my sisters to grab their shoes and let's grow. So they leave out the door, get in the car. She backs out the driveway. I'm sitting on the couch, and the guy is sitting on the couch next to me. He he's sitting there for a little bit in silence, but he's looking at me. I'm not paying no attention, so I'm still watching TV. So he comes and he like, come here. So I'm looking, but I ain't like registering what he's saying. So I get up, I come here. So he stands up and he basically like, come over here. So I go to him to see what it is that he wanted. So he was like, lay right here. So I lay down as he instructed me to do. He removed my pants and essayed me for the first time. So I'm just laying there because I'm terrified, I'm scared, I'm shocked. I don't know what to do. My mama is gone, my sisters is gone. I'm basically home alone at this point. So I'm like, you hurting me. Can you stop? He wouldn't stop. He kept going. So I said it again, you're hurting me. Can you please stop? He wouldn't stop. He kept going. So at this point, I started crying. And I was like, you hurting me. So he was like, he looked at me in my eyes and was like, I'm sorry. got up. He went down to the downstairs bathroom because we had a two-story townhome where it was a half bath downstairs and two full baths upstairs. So he goes down to the bathroom downstairs to get his stuff together. I goes upstairs and lock myself in my bathroom upstairs. So I'm sitting in the bathtub scrubbing, and crying at the same time because I was basically stripped of my innocence and didn't know what to do, nobody to save me. So while I'm in the shower waiting for my mama to get back, my sister come running up the stairs looking for me, and she comes in the bathroom with me and I'm crying. She asked me, she was like, why are you crying? I was like, I don't know. I kept saying I don't know because I was afraid to tell her. She was like, Nina, you was not crying before me and mama and them left to go to the stove. So I'm like, I know, but I'm okay. So she was like, no, tell me what's wrong, tell me what's wrong. So I end up telling her what happened. And she was like, oh, I'm going to tell mommy. So I was like, no, don't tell mommy, don't tell mommy, don't tell mommy. So she like, no, you need to tell mama, you need to tell mama. I'm like, no, don't tell mommy because I'm scared. And at this point, I didn't know what to do. I'm terrified. So I'm like, no, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So my sister was the first person that I told, and I begged her not to tell my mama. I begged her not to tell nobody else. So she was like, we sat in the bathroom for a little minute talking, and she was like, so why did he do this to you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm clueless. I don't know. At the point that I'm still sitting in this bathtub talking to her, I'm scrubbing my skin off. Not literally or physically, but I'm scrubbing. Like, I'm trying to get all of this off of me. So I'm like, I don't know. I keep telling my sister, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I finish my bath. I get myself together. And she was like, well, before you come out, make sure you straighten yourself up. Like, stop all the crying and stuff. So mommy wouldn't get suspect of anything. So I'm like, okay, or whatever. So she leave out the bathroom. I get myself together, get dressed, and all of that. And after that, I go in my room and I stay in my room. I don't come back out. I don't come back out. My mama looking for me. She was like, well, Nene at? I was my sister telling her that she upstairs, she laying down or whatever. He's still downstairs. He's still at the house. He done basically violated me and he's still there. No one thought nothing of this at all. Nothing. So the day go by and I'm still up in my room. I don't come back out my room at all. Y'all have to come back for part 4. Part 4 of how I was impregnated by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 10 and forced to keep the baby. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of comments about different things. Once I'm done telling the story, I'm going to go do a quick Q&A live. I see a lot of people saying that something happened to my little sisters. Let's clarify that. Nothing ever happened to my little sisters. No, he never touched them. Second, I'm seeing a lot of people say, why is my sister coaching like she know what to do or what to say? That's any normal kid that's actually going through something like this, and she was the first person that I told. I just never went and told my mama out of fear. I'm also seeing comments basically saying that did he tell you not to tell, or did he say anything to you after the first incident? No, he didn't say anything to me after the first incident, and no, he did not tell me not to tell. I did not tell out of fear. Okay, so now that I cleared those few things up, let me continue on with the story. So I left off in part 3 where I stayed in my room all night. Like I didn't come back out. I don't even remember if I ate or went to the bathroom. I just went to bed because I had just experienced a traumatic incident and was just terrified. So I stayed in my room. All right, fast forward a little bit. The next day come, my mama get us ready for school. We go to school, and everything is continually like normal. Mind y'all, in the first couple of videos, I said that this man had gained access to our home. He had a key. My mama gave him a key. I guess she gave him a key because she was working on one side of the town and we lived on another side of town. But he had this key for a minute now. Okay, so the abuse continued to happen. It continued to happen, and um, I never said anything. I never said anything because of fear. This particular day or time, I really can't remember the exact day, but he brought a hunting cooler to my mom's house and basically set it on the back porch. One night after he essayed me, he basically told me if I did tell or if anybody found out that he was doing this to me, he would unalive me, dismember my body, and put me in this cooler, and no one would never find me. So that shook me up even more and made me even more scared to tell. So the essay continue as normal. The sickening thing about it is that he would sleep with my mama on sometimes that he bothers me. He sleep with my mama, and after my mom go to sleep, he'll sneak in my room and mess with me. After he get done messing with me, he'll leave money up under my pillow and he'll leave. Um, so this particular night, my mom gets home from work and I'm sleeping. Now this is what I'm normally doing, y'all. I'm normally just sleeping, and I'm in this bubble. I done started sheltering myself because of fear. So I'm sleeping, not knowing that my body is going through changes as well, not knowing that I'm pregnant. I knew that I missed my menses for a few months, but I didn't think anything of it as being a kid. I started young. I'm like, maybe, my body probably gonna stop for a little bit and then come back. No, that wasn't the case. So basically the abuse continued to happen. He continued to fondle with me, mess with me, continue to essay me. So this particular night, my mom basically came home from work. I'm sleeping on the couch, and my sister like tapping me, and she calling my name. She basically like, wake up, and I'm like, hmm. She was like, wake up so you can tell mama what this man been doing to you. And I'm like, no, you tell her. And I'm telling my sister to tell her because I'm still scared. I'm still in fear. So she was like, no, you need to tell her. So in the process of her telling me that I need to tell her, she tell my mom, well, come here, sit down. We got something to tell you. My mom in a rush to get upstairs, I guess, to get herself together, take a shower and all that. She did come in from a long day at work. So she finally come in, sit down, and basically was like, what y'all have to tell me? So I tell her, I'm like, Mom, this man been touching me for a while now, for a little minute, and it's basically been happening. So she gets up. She say what first before she get up? She say what, like out of shock. So she gets up. She goes upstairs because he was there. She goes upstairs and she basically asks, "So is this true that you are doing these things to Nene?" And he like, no, she lying. I'm not doing nothing to her. Never did nothing to her. Basically pleading his innocence. So after a while of them conversating, she comes back down and she basically like, well, he's saying that that's not true, and you lying. Okay. So she lays down, she go to sleep. We all fall asleep in the living room. He leaves. He leaves after we tell her he leaves. Okay, so he basically kind of like stayed away for a couple of days to let things die down or whatever, but struck again. Like, it struck again. He was still able to pick us up from after school program. He was still able to come in and out of our home because he still had this key. So he was still able to have access to me. He was still able to do things to me. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. My mama know because we done told her. Me and my sisters told her. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. I'm still sleeping after school. I'm coming home. I'm sleeping. I'm not doing anything that I was normally doing, like playing outside, playing with my sisters, or anything like that. I'm just sleeping. So fast forward to March 10th, 2000. For the ones that was asking in the comments, when is your birthday? My birthday is March 10th. So we on the day of March 10th, 2000. My mama had scheduled a doctor's appointment. She scheduled a doctor's appointment that basically fell on my birthday. We getting ready to go to this doctor's appointment, but we get into a bad car accident. So that stopped us from going to the doctor's appointment. If we would have been able to make it to that doctor's appointment on that day, she would have found out that I was pregnant. But since we couldn't make it to the appointment because of this car accident, she basically had to find out another way. So in the process of us going through therapy, different scans, we go and do an MRI. So I get my MRI done. Everybody, all us, me, my mama, and my sisters, we get our MRI done. And we waiting for the results. One day we sitting at home on the living room floor, and the doctor that read my MRI calls her and basically say, you need to get her to the nearest hospital. And she like, why? What's going on? Is something drastically wrong with her? Like, what's the problem? So he basically telling her, like, she has a fetus growing inside of her and she needs to get to the hospital. It's urgent that she go to the hospital. So she's like, okay, she's confused of this. She's confused. So she hangs up the phone. And the first thing that she says is, what little boy at the school that you have been messing with? So I'm like, Mom, I haven't been messing with no little boy at the school. So she was like, well, we need to figure out who this little boy is so we can have a conversation with the parents on what we're finna do with this baby. So once again, I tell her, we don't have to have no conversation with nobody because I wasn't messing with nobody at the school. Mind y'all, I am a typical 10-year-old, 11-year-old that played outside. I wasn't a fast teen, but y'all have to come back for part 5 for me to continue. All right, y'all. Part 5 of how I was impregnated by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 10 and forced to keep the baby. So in part 4, she found out that I was pregnant by the doctor that read my MRI. While she asking what boy I was messing with at the school, I'm like, I wasn't messing with nobody at the school. My breast started leaking milk. She was like, oh, yeah, you're pregnant, so we're getting ready to go to the hospital. Let's go. So she loaded me and my sisters up, and we go to the nearest hospital. Nah, we get there, we get checked in. The doctor come immediately. They get me to the back immediately. He orders a whole workup, blood work, ultrasound, pelvic exam, all of this. He do a whole workup on me. So I'm back, and they take me back for my ultrasound. And while they're rolling me back, the nurse is walking on the side of me and she's talking to me, she's comforting me, and she made me feel safe enough to tell her what's been going on with me and what happened to me. So I tell her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that." Like, she was so hurt. And her words was, he would never be able to do this to you again. He would never hurt you again. So I'm like, okay, I'm shaking my head, okay, but I'm crying too because it's very emotional. Even talking about it is emotional. So she get me the ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech basically was like, she was gonna get me over to the stretcher so she could start the exam. So I'm like, okay. So the nurse that walked with me, she stayed with me the whole entire time. She helped her get me on the table, and they started the exam. So both of them looking at the monitor in shock, like in disbelief. So I asked, "What's wrong?" And it was like, nothing. And they keep going. They keep looking, measuring, and all of this stuff. And they whispering amongst themselves, but I really can't make out what they're saying. So after they do the scan on the top on my stomach, they do a vaginal scan to make sure they seeing everything correctly, everything is intact, and everything is good. So once we get done with my ultrasound, they excuse me, they rolled me back to my room where my mom and my sisters was out on the patio outside, and my sisters telling my mom, what's going on, what their version of the story of what was taking place and what happened. So she picks up the phone and she calls him from the hospital, and she's basically like asking him, "Did you do this to my baby? Like, what did you do to her? Tell me." And he's telling her, "I can't do this. I can't tell you." And like being very, very, very in denial of what had happened. So she was like, "She's pregnant, and I need to know if this you." So he was like, "I can't," and hung up the phone. So while all of this going on, while she's calling him, the hospital done called DCF and the police. So two detectives come. They question my mom first, and they talk to my siblings. They talk to me and my siblings, and they question us, and they ask us what happened. We tell them what happened, and all of this. They tell my younger siblings that they was gonna remove us out of my mom out of my mom care. They knew this before I knew it. So they talking to DCF. DCF has to come and do their investigation as well. And after they investigate and they get all of our stories of what took place and what was going on, they made a call, and the call was basically remove the kids from the mother's care, and we're gonna have to find someone to get them. So my grandma stepped up and took on me and my siblings. But in the process of DCF, the detectives and all of this, all my blood work come back, all my test results and everything come back. And the doctor tell my mom that she's basically 6 months pregnant. So my mama, she goes into a frenzy. Like, oh my, what are we gonna do? She's too young. So the doctor was like, it's only one thing left that you can do is allow her to have this baby. Mom was like, she can't have an abortion. And he was like, no, I wouldn't recommend an abortion because of the fact that she's too young. She's too young, and it would just be a lot of stress and strain on her. You could possibly lose the both of them. So mom was like, okay, well, what do I do? So the doctor was like, you're just gonna have to let this play out. You're gonna have to let her carry this child to the end. So she like, okay. So at this point, she called my grandma, and grandma come to the hospital. And she tells my grandma what happened, and DCF talks to my grandma as well. And the detective talks to her. So we leave the hospital with my grandma. We leave the hospital with my grandma. My mama finds out that I'm 6 months pregnant, and I have 4 more months left of this pregnancy to go. So this is how I was forced to keep the baby. I was too young to have an abortion. I was too young to do anything, and I was too far along in my pregnancy. So fast forward a little bit, I'm still in school, but I'm in fourth grade. I'm still at Carrollwood Elementary. They pulled me out of fourth grade and they homeschooled me. They homeschooled me for the rest of my fourth grade year and my fifth grade year. Now, mind you, my mom is free. She don't have me and my siblings, so she free. So me and my sisters really stopped seeing my mom a lot once my grandma got us. My mama started living her best life. She was basically in Miami every other weekend, or if she ain't in Miami or on a girls trip with her homegirls and her friends, she was working. I don't know if this was her time to come to terms of what took place and how it took place and how it happened. I don't know why my mama disappeared, but I basically went through the rest of my pregnancy alone. Yes, I had my siblings and I had my grandma, but it's nothing like having your mom beside you going through something like this. It was very tough. It was very tough and it was very rough for me. I would say I went through a lot of emotional distress. I went through a lot of physical stress. I went through a lot at this age, and I'm still trying to grasp what happened to me too. I'm still trying to grasp that I'm actually carrying a whole human being inside of me at 11 years old. Y'all, I turned 11 March 10th, the day that I was supposed to go to this doctor's appointment. I turned 11. So I'm 6 months pregnant with a whole baby, and I'm basically forced to bring this baby into the world. Y'all will have to come back for part 6 because we're running out of time. All right, y'all, part 6 on how I was impregnated by my mother's boyfriend at the age of 10 and forced to keep the baby. Okay, so this would be the final part of the story. For all Q&A questions, y'all got to jump on the live. I will give y'all an hour to view the video and then check in at like 7:30 on the live. But anyway, back to the story. I end up giving birth August 12th, 2000 to a baby girl. My labor was hard. It was rough. I end up having to be induced because I had preeclampsia. And I did have support at the hospital. I had a doula. My grandma was there. Of my mom and a few of her friends. My mom passed out in the middle of me delivering. I did have a vaginal birth. Fast forward, now that my daughter is here, we were waiting on DNA results to finish the trial for him. Unfortunately, the the results came back 99.99% that he was the father, so he remained in jail. He did go to prison. He did 85 years. They sentenced him to. For as my mama, she never completed her case plan. She never did the things that DCF asked her to do for her to regain custody. So my grandma remained with custody of us. She also gained custody of my child because I was too young. Fast forward a little bit, as we got older, my grandma
started being abusive, um, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, and she was an alcoholic. She used to say things to me and my sisters like it wasn't our fault that this happened. She should have let our ass go into foster care. She put her life on hold to raise us. It was just a lot. And then for me, she always mentally abused me. Every chance she got, she basically said things like it wasn't my fault that your mama let a motherfucker fuck you and get you pregnant. And I would be just like my mama with a house full of kids, never have anything, just so on and so on. We dealt with a lot of mental abuse for a long time. As I got older, I started being rebellious because I felt like it was no love at home. I never had the love. I never had the support. I never had nobody to stand up for me. So I started being rebellious. I started sitting in the car. I started sneaking out. I just started doing stuff. Me and my grandma always used to bump heads, so she ended up putting me out when I turned 16. I'm out, I'm going to school, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm taking care of myself, basically. My daughter and my sisters were still at the house with her, and an incident happened where she lost custody of all of us. My little sister got into a fight at school with another girl, and she got suspended from school. She came home. My grandma beat her with an umbrella and punched on her, bust her lip, and all of that. So my middle sister was like, "All right, well, we just finna leave." So they grabbed my daughter and they walked down to the church to get some help. They talked to the people. They get in contact with my mama, and my mama come and get them. So this particular night, we all sleep in the car. This night, because my grandma didn't want to open the door for none of us. So my mom get up and she drive us down to the police station, and we make a police report, and they question us, and yeah, my grandma goes to jail. She gets 6 different charges because she didn't know where we was, know nothing. So she lost custody of us. Now I was already like out on my own and taking care of myself and stuff like that. So foster care wasn't a place for me. I always ran from all my placements. My sisters, on the other hand, they had to go to another county. They went to Melbourne, to an all girls ranch out there. Now, 2003, we found out that my mom is HIV positive. Of course, this is a HIV positive scare because a couple years ago, I just gave birth to a baby girl, and her father was in prison, and the word was he had full blown AIDS. So now me and my daughter had to get tested every 3 months, like clockwork, to make sure that we didn't contract this virus. And I thank God that we have been free of this virus. And God didn't have that in store for me. Now, my mama also was supposed to face charges. The state was trying to charge her, but me and my sisters basically lied for her and to keep her out of prison. For him, he did. He was sentenced to 85 years. He didn't make it. He died in prison of AIDS and cancer. My mama died 10 years ago, 2015. She passed away. So that should sum up the questions on that. And then my daughter is 25. She has 2 kids of her own. She's doing very well. She's alive, healthy, and moving around. We would definitely do a meet and greet over live once I talk to her and get her comfortable with being on camera and stuff. We would definitely do a meet and greet. all other questions about this story, anything that y'all unsure about, just join the Q&A live and we will discuss it. I thank every last one of you guys for staying tuned for the story, for all the kind words, even the bad ones. God basically healed me. And I'm still on my healing journey. He brought me this far and he wanted me to share this story because it's other children and women in the world that are going through these things currently and they don't know how to come forward. They don't know how to speak up. I can tell by a lot of the comments that a lot of people are very immature. They haven't grown just by the comments and the things that you say. Just like y'all, some of y'all is not in tune for real. I think that the negative comments, it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. But I didn't backlash or lash out. But be mindful who you put your mouth on. And I mean that as what you say about a person because you never know if they're God's child. You never know if God has his hands on them. Once again, I appreciate every last one of you guys. This is the last and final part of the story. My mom is no longer here. He's no longer here. My daughter is well. She's alive. And I thank y'all for being tuned in. I will see y'all on the live if y'all join. Please write down y'all questions. And we will be respectful on this live. I'm sending virtual hugs to everyone out there that feel like it's hard to come forward and share your testimony and your story. Always remember God put you through things for you to enlighten others of how he brought you through. This was the whole purpose of my story, of me telling my story. God brought me through. I could have died at 11 years old giving birth. I'm a walking testimony. I love each and every last one of you guys, and thank y'all so much for being in tune. And I'll see y'all.
This is absolutely sickening. A mother left her house, trusting this man with her child, never imagining he would leave that little girl with trauma she'll carry for the rest of her life. It's heartbreaking. This is exactly why you have to be careful about who you let around your kids, especially when they're young and can't fully understand what's happening or how to protect themselves. And this man was 60 years old, which makes it even more disgusting. At that age, I hope he got everything he deserved. The worst part is that while this mother was out working hard to provide a better life for her family, she unknowingly brought danger right into her home. That kind of guilt can haunt a parent forever, sometimes for generations.
All right, good morning, y'all. So I am going to go ahead and give y'all the story time on how my friend turned into a serial killer, okay? And just as a disclaimer, I'm not saying his name. If you from Kansas City, you probably already know anyway. But so it started my freshman year. I was going to this high school, it's called Grandview High or whatever, and that's where I met said friend. And he was a year older than me. He was a sophomore. I was a freshman. But we had kind of like the same friend group, right? So we got really, 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 really close. And I would call him my brother. He would call me his sister. But it wasn't on no like weird shit, like, you know. And so freshman year went on fine. We just was kicking it, you know what I'm saying? Like we hang out at school, hang out after school, stuff like that, like with our friends and stuff. So sophomore year, my parents had split up. And when my parents split up, me and my mama ended up moving to these townhomes called Willow Creek, and I started going to Center High School. And now, when I ended up going to Center for my sophomore year, he ended up going there for his junior year. And you know how it is when you meet somebody at your, when you see somebody at your new school from your old school and y'all hella cool, it's just like, Damn, we locked in for real now. So anyway, sophomore year was fine. For me, it was his junior year. He ended up getting a job at Pizza Hut. Now, his manager was like super, super young back then, so they would let him like take all the extra wings that they had overnight and he'll be able to sell them at school. So he was like the wing guy at school, right? So, um, that like I say all that to say he was normal. He was cool. He had friends. He had the bitches. Like it was nothing wrong. He wasn't the eyeball out. It wasn't nothing like that. So he was normal sophomore year. Now my junior year, his senior year is when shit started to like get real weird. So he used to be like super fly. Like his mama kept him dressed nice. Like he was always polo down. He had the what's some jeans called them 501 jeans. He had all the J's. Like he was fresh. But one day, and he like kept his hair done. Like he had dreads. He would keep his hair neat and stuff like that. But one day, he just started coming to school not giving a fuck. Like it didn't look like he washed his face. Didn't look like he gave a fuck about the outfit he threw on. Nothing. It was just weird. So you would hear people like over the time he kept coming to school like that. So you would hear people start talking. Oh, sorry. Let me back up just a little bit. My junior year, his senior year, we both ended up having to go to center alternative, right? So a lot of this stuff started going on at the alternative school. So, you would hear people can't really remember where I left off at, but people started to talk. Like time had went on, people started to talk like, damn, I think he on that stuff. Like I think he started dibbling and dabbling drugs. Now, I started to believe it, right? I believed it because I seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like you could just tell he was different. But because I knew him personally, I knew that some of his family members, close family members, suffer from mental health issues. And I feel like back time was always banned off the school grounds, so he couldn't even come up there. So boom, time went on. I quit fucking with him. We wasn't cool no more. You ain't bro, I ain't sis. I'm not fucking with you, right? So what's understood ain't gotta be explained. We wasn't cool no more. But it was like he quit being cool with everybody because he just was distancing himself. Like he was really weird. Anyway, so um fast forward to October. It was October 22nd, 2013. I never forget it. I was leaving school. Me and my baby daddy and his brother. I think it was either one of his brothers, two of his brothers. I can't remember, but they ended up having a physical altercation at the church. I ended up going into labor after this because I was granted, it was the day before my due date, but I also was running like for my life. Okay, so boom, fast forward, nothing else. Oh, let me go back. I remember like when we used to be on the bus, and he used to say crazy ass shit like, "I hate white people," like you know what I'm.
to. I don't know what happened with my sound at the end of the video, but yeah. So I think I stopped at the fact that some of his family members suffer from mental health, right? And I was saying that in the video, I don't think that in the black community we took that serious at the time, so I don't believe he was getting no help or nothing like that. Okay, cool. I graduated in 2014, and a couple years later, I still stayed in the area. So we were always, like, my cousin lived down the street from me, and he still lived in the area at the time. So me and my cousin would see him all the time, just like walking, fully clothed sweatsuits. Like, it'd be the summertime, and he's in a full-blown sweatsuit going to cut grass because he was like the neighborhood grass dude or whatever. So he used to cut everybody grass in the neighborhood. So one day, me and my cousin was just riding down the street or whatever. We seen him, and I want to say like later on, maybe later on that week or something like that, they had said that they had found a body on this trail near where we all lived at. And so at first, we was like, what the heck? Like, that's crazy. Not thinking too much of it, but just like, damn, that's wild. Okay, cool. Like a month later, they found another body on said trail, right? So like, okay, that's weird. So a couple months go by, they keep finding bodies on the trail. So they had found 5 bodies over there in that area. And then months later, over the span of a year, he had allegedly murdered 5 people in the area. The last victim wasn't in that area, and the last victim was a woman. But in the news, they stated that they believed she was killed because she was homeless and she looked like a man, and he was killing all older men. So it was so crazy because one day me and my cousin had seen him, and we was like, what if he the one killing all them people on the trail? And we laughed it off, and we just kept going. Y'all, I want to say a couple days later, he was all over the news for killing all them people. Crazy. Still there to this day, and it's so crazy because they say this is the longest case that hasn't went to trial yet in the Jackson County system because his trial keeps getting delayed because of like mental health things and his competency level and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just really sad to see people that you grew up with turn out like that. But that just gotta let you know that you never really know people. You never really know your neighbors, your friends, your family. Like, this is somebody's brother, somebody's son. He was going home to family every day.
And I had just found out I was pregnant my junior year. And one day I had walked in, I was about to do the announcements. I was late. I remember I was late. I had went to McDonald's, and I came to school, and I can't remember what was said between us. It wasn't nothing crazy because, mind y'all, like, once he started acting kind of weird, I guess you can kind of say he started distancing himself, and I distanced myself because I was just like, I don't know what you got going on, but I'm praying for you, right? Until I get to school this day. I'm late. I don't remember what was said, but I remember I literally we were standing in front of like the little security or whatever it was called, and he was like, some, bitch, I'll kill you. Like, I'll kill you right now. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, he ain't never threatened me, never said nothing crazy to me, nothing like that, right? So at the time, I'm telling my baby daddy, like, damn, such and such said this, that, and the third. And my baby daddy at the time was always...
Here's a more polished version. This world just keeps getting darker year after year. People are committing the most evil acts, and somehow it's starting to feel normal. Honestly, we're all so busy, especially here in the US, so caught up in our own lives that tragedies like this barely make us stop anymore. They just blend into the background noise. Just a few days ago, a woman and her baby in the back seat were shot for reasons still unknown. The mother died. The baby survived. Now that child will grow up without a mother, and only God knows what kind of life awaits her without that guidance and love. I pray for this world. I pray for everyone reading this, and I pray that this kind of evil never finds you or the people you love. To have someone you called brother look you in the eye at a security desk and casually say he'd kill you? That's the kind of betrayal that changes how you see people forever. She's absolutely right. Back in 2013 to 2014, we weren't having conversations about mental health like we are today. It sounds like he was dealing with some serious genetic or psychological issues, and instead of getting professional help, he turned to the streets and ended up with a lawnmower job. It's tragic because you can't help but wonder, if someone had intervened early when he first stopped taking care of himself, would those people on the trail still be alive? The fact that she and her cousin literally joked, "What if it's him?" and then it actually was him? That's intuition. That's discernment. We joke about things to keep from being scared, but deep down, our gut always knows when something's off, when the energy has shifted.
Story time on how me and my sister got our ass kicked by one girl. Now, just for reference, we was young. I was in the 5th grade. My sister was in the 3rd grade. But nonetheless, some ass kicking did happen today. And it was our asses that was getting the kicking. Yeah. So, boom, like I said, I'm in the 5th grade. My sister is probably like 3rd grade-ish, right? So, we had moved in these new apartments and didn't really know nobody. Moved in the apartments, started a new school, right? So, when I started the school, I had met this girl named Amber. Me and Amber get real cool. That's my girl. So I end up finding out one day me and my sister had to walk home. But while we was walking home, Amber was also walking home. So I'm like, damn, bitch, you live over here too? Like, yeah. So she go to school with me. We walk home together and we live in the same apartment. So we fucking lit. Like, that was my girl. So like I said, we hang together real tight at school or whatever. And she also come home and, we be in each other's houses. We play outside, whatever. I met her mama. She met my mama. We real cool. So at school, I started noticing that Amber is a fucking bully. Not just like beating on people, taking money bully, but she's a bully. People is scared of her. So much so that I ain't had no problems. When I was hanging with Amber, no problems at all. Nobody fucked with me. Okay? And just for reference, Amber is fucking huge. The girl is tall as shit, okay? She's super fucking tall. Everybody was kind of low-key scared of Amber, okay? They scared of her, and rightfully so, because she was big. So, like I said, Amber is starting to come over my house and hang out. And if I'm not mistaken, Amber stole something from my house. I don't know if it was something that was my mama's, and it was something like major. I don't remember what it was, but something came up missing. And we knew that Amber did it because, like I said, she started like showing her true colors after a while. Like, you really be doing some hoe ass shit, low key. Girl, so my mama really didn't care for Amber too much. That's important. Okay, so boom. Usher dropped that song. Yeah, 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 yeah. He dropped that song. He dropped that video. So the shit was popping around this time, right? Everybody was planning on going to the skating ring. I think that week or something. Everybody's planning on going to the skating ring because, we want to skate to this song. So boom. I don't know if everybody in my apartments was late, but at the end of that video, how Usher got that little dance part that's like, do the H-Town stomp, do the muscle, a thunderclap, A. So for some reason, me and my sister, I don't know, we started doing a dance. Everybody in the apartments thought that we came up with that ourselves. And we never corrected them because shit, we just didn't. So they thought that we made up the dance, although we really didn't. But that's on y'all. Do your own research. So because of that, the older kids would come up to me and my sister be like, hey, do y'all a dance. So much so that I think Amber low-key started hating. She started getting jealous. So one day, this popular girl, she was like older than us. I think she was middle school, maybe high school. I don't know, but she was older than us. So she came up to me and my sister and she like, hey, do y'all dance? So while she doing a dance, Amber just sitting there, stank look, mad. So then she gonna bust out and say, y'all didn't even make that up. Why you hate? And we didn't make it up, but it's like, why you telling? Why you mad? So her and my sister started getting into it, which again, my sister is younger than her. April's in my grade. Her and my sister started getting into it, right? They arguing. It went from like a friendly argument to like it's getting serious. Like, a fight finna happen. So all the other kids outside looking at me like, damn, Nene, you ain't gonna intervene. And I'm low-key trying to play it off because I did not want to fight Amber. For reference, baby, I am 5'1" right now. I've always been short my whole life. I don't want to fight Amber. So I'm trying to play it cool. Like, you know, this my homegirl. Like, I ain't on that. Next thing I know, I just heard them. Like that. So I heard that. So Amber ended up, I don't know what happened. Oh, my sister was sitting in a chair, like leaned back in a chair, right? Something happened. I think Amber pushed her out the chair. And as my sister was getting up, she took both of her hands and like, bam, in my sister back. And she like that. So my sister get up. She run up in the house. She crying. She go get my mama. Now pause. My mama is in the house at this time getting her hair done. She getting a quick weave. I vividly remember this. She was getting a quick weave, okay? Just keep that in mind. So she go run up in the house to get my mama. So I'm like, damn, now I have to intervene. I have to step in because that's my sister. So I'm like, fuck. So by the time my mama came outside, she got tracks hanging from her head, a big ass circle in the middle, like her halfway done, less than halfway done. So she like, mind you, my mama is already mad because Amber stole from her. So she like, beat her ass. I'm sick of her. Beat her ass. She all in my face like, but y'all, I was fucking scared because Amber is a goddamn, I didn't want to fight Thanos. Bro, that had to be how Craig felt going up against Debo. I'm telling you, like, to this day, I ain't never been that scared to fight somebody before in my life. Like, the girl was huge, dog. She looking down at me like this. Like this, just like this. So my mama steady in my ear. She like, hit her. So before I knew it, I didn't use my fists, but I did this part, and I just mushed her, like, real hard. So I pop it off. We get the fighting. Bro, she immediately started handling me, dog. Because I'm like, I don't know. I'm less than half of this girl's size. She is handling me. So before I knew it, my sister jumped in. My mama pushed my sister in, forced her to jump in. Girl, so I remember me and my sister had just got our hair braided, fresh braids, like probably like that day before. And she wrapped her hand around my braids with one hand. The other hand, she wrapped my sister braids around. And she just get the glong, 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 banging our heads together. I swear to God, just glong, glong, headache, glong, 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 glong. I mean, bro, she out here bringing our shit like, boom, boom, dumping our shit together like two coconuts just. It started pissing me and my sister off because why are you doing this, April? Girl, I guess she whooped enough ass. I don't know. She eased up a little bit. She was out of breath. So one of us, both of us, somebody, I don't know, finally was able to hit her in her stomach. When we hit her in the stomach, she crouched over. So she crouched over. We just started wearing her back out. Back. Head. Uppercut. I mean, we did what we could. We did a little something, but ultimately, Amber kicked our ass. I mean, toe us off the bone. Tenderism. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little part 2 because I got to go. I got to do my hair. I got to go. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, I don't teach my son to hit little girls, but he's definitely taught to defend himself, whether it be a girl, boy, dog, cat, horse, mouse. He's going to defend himself, okay? So if your daughter is pounding my son in his head, he's going to push her down. He going to push her away from him. Yes, he is, because he's not finna just sit there and get hit on like he a punching bag. We're not going to do that. So just so that y'all can understand or give y'all a visual. The first mama that came up to my car, she's tall and skinny. We gonna call her Michael Jordan. The second mama is tall and fat and ugly. Both of them ugly, but she was real ugly. We gonna call her Benny Siegel. She literally looked like Benny Siegel. So Michael Jordan was like, okay, well, you better make sure you at the bus stop every day to get your son on time, because if I catch him by himself, I'ma beat his ass myself. So I'm like, whoa. Come again, Miss Mamas? At that point right there, I knew that it was going to be something, because you just threatened my child, who, by the way, is 6 years old. Okay, so I called my sister and I'm like, man, look, I think something to go down. These girls is at my car. You know, I got my kids. I think something to go down. So my nephew goes to the same school as well at this time. My sister was just literally 2 minutes away. Okay, so she asked me what happened, and I'm telling her, I had my window down just a little bit. You know, I wanted them to hear this. I don't know. I'm just petty like that. I don't know. So I'm like, yeah, these hoes all up. Ooh, can I say that? I don't know. I'm like, these girls all in my car. They done threatened my child. You know what I'm saying? One of them called my son a P word. And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, and then they got on these big set it off wigs. They highly synthetic. I mean, 100% flammable. We live in Texas, baby. It get hot in the summertime. So if you stay out in the summertime too long, your wig is going to catch on fire. What I say that for? Girl, Miss Mamas, Michael Jordan, they had done walked off to their car, but she came back. I just heard flip-flops coming up to my car. Baby, she beat on my window. Then she proceeds to pull my door handle. And before I knew it, yeah, because don't play with me.
Once that lady mentioned your child, all bets are off. You do not, and I mean do not, threaten a 6-year-old. I don't care how mad you are at the mama. You leave the babies out of it. Period. That's a line you just don't cross. And then for her to be banging on the window and grabbing the door handle like she's lost her mind? She's lucky she only got a non-structured opinion, if you catch my drift. Because in real life, threatening somebody's kid is how situations escalate from 0 to 100 real quick. Mama bear mode doesn't have an off switch when it comes to protecting your child. We all had an Amber in the neighborhood. You know the type. One of those girls who was built like a grown woman in the 5th grade, looking 25 when she was barely 11. The kind that made you do a double take like, wait, she's in elementary school? Those girls were either the sweetest people you'd ever meet or absolute menaces. No in between. But can we talk about your mama coming out with the quick weave half done, tracks just swinging in the wind, yelling at y'all to beat her ass? That is the most authentic black auntie / mama energy I've ever heard. She didn't even pause to think about the fact that this girl was twice your size and built like a linebacker. Nope. She was still heated about her stuff getting stolen, and pride was on the line. That's that old school parenting right there. I don't care if she bigger than you. Don't let nobody punk you in your own yard. Getting your heads bounced together like 2 coconuts is a core memory if I ever heard one. That visual alone has me weak. But hey, at least y'all got those stomach shots in at the end. It's the principle of the matter. You might lose the fight, but you're going to make sure they remember you swung back. That's how you earn respect in the neighborhood, even in a loss. You don't just lay down and take it. You show up, you fight, and you walk away knowing you stood your ground. That's a lesson that sticks with you for life. Man, if these stories teach us anything, it's that your gut is always trying to tell you something. Like that moment when she and her cousin joked, "What if it's him?" And it actually was? That's not coincidence. That's your spirit picking up on something off. We laugh and joke to cope, but underneath that, there's real discernment happening. Don't ignore it. How many times have we felt something was wrong, brushed it off because we didn't want to seem dramatic or paranoid, and then later wished we'd listened to that first instinct? That little voice, that uneasy feeling, that joke that's not really a joke. That's your soul trying to protect you. Pay attention to it. And the trust thing, that's heavy. You really can't just bring anyone around your kids, no matter how much you think you know them. That mother was out working, trying to build a better life, doing everything right, and still ended up with a predator in her house. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being protective. There's a difference. Your kids can't always tell you when something's wrong, especially when they're scared or don't understand what's happening to them. So you gotta be that barrier, that filter. Watch how people move, how they interact, what energy they bring. Do background checks if you have to. Ask questions. Trust is earned, not given freely, especially when it comes to your babies. And even then, even with people you've known for years, keep your eyes open. Predators bank on that trust, on that comfort level. They wait for you to let your guard down. The mental health piece too. Back in 2013, 2014, we just weren't talking about it. Somebody stops washing their face, stops taking care of themselves, starts acting different, and we either ignore it or make jokes. But those are warning signs. If someone had stepped in early, maybe things would have turned out different. We got to normalize checking on people for real, not just the surface level, you good, but actually paying attention, actually sitting down and having those uncomfortable conversations. Because untreated trauma, undiagnosed mental illness, unchecked rage, all of that festers. And when people don't get help, when they turn to the streets instead of a therapist, when society fails them, innocent people end up paying the price. It's a cycle we need to break. And speaking of cycles, look at how violence just keeps repeating itself. That woman and her baby getting shot for no reason, a mother gone and a child left without that foundation. It's senseless. And you're right, we've become so desensitized to it. Another shooting, another tragedy, and we scroll past it like it's just background noise. We can't let that become normal. Every life matters. Every loss leaves a hole in someone's world. We got to stay human, stay sensitive to the pain around us, even when it feels overwhelming. And then there's that street lesson about respect and boundaries. When your mama came out with that quick weave, half done telling y'all to fight, that wasn't just about the stolen stuff. That was about teaching you not to let people walk over you in your own space. You might lose, but you swing anyway. That's about dignity. You don't have to win every battle, but you show up. You stand your ground. Because if you don't defend yourself, people will keep testing you, keep pushing boundaries, keep taking from you. There's a balance, though, knowing when to fight and when to walk away. Not every battle is worth your energy, but some battles define who you are. And that thing about threatening a child? That's where all rational thought goes out the window. The second somebody brings your kid into it, the rules change completely. That's non-negotiable. You can come at me all day, but the moment you look at my child sideways, we got a whole different problem. Kids don't have the tools to defend themselves physically or emotionally. They're depending on us to be that shield, that protector, that safe space in a dangerous world. And when we fail at that, intentionally or accidentally, the damage lasts generations. That guilt, that trauma, it ripples out and touches everybody. The mother who trusted the wrong person carries that weight forever. The child who got hurt carries scars that never fully heal. The siblings who witnessed it carry their own version of the pain. There's also something about community in all this. We used to look out for each other more. Now everybody's so focused on their own grind, their own problems, that we miss what's happening right next door. We see signs and don't say anything because we don't want to be nosy, or we assume someone else will handle it. But that's how people slip through the cracks. That's how abusers operate in plain sight. We need to bring back that village mentality, actually caring about the kids on the block, actually checking on our neighbors, actually being willing to intervene when something doesn't feel right. So yeah, trust your gut because it's connected to something deeper than logic. Protect your peace and your space because nobody else will do it for you. Check on your people, really check on them, because mental health struggles don't always look the way we think they do. Stand your ground when it matters, because respect is everything. Stay human, and don't let tragedy become white noise. And guard the children like your life depends on it. Because honestly, the kind of life worth living, the kind of world worth building, does depend on it. We owe them that much. We owe ourselves that much. This world might be getting darker, but that just means we got to be more intentional about being the light, about breaking cycles, about protecting what's sacred.